All right, today we're getting big, ridiculous looking lats. And if yours aren't growing, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why. Because we're going to go in very specific detail about certain parts of some of the most common exercises where people's form usually breaks down, they lose the connection, they end up hitting biceps more than anything else. So if you're ready, let's get after it. Let me first start out by saying that these insights are specifically for somebody that just wants to put on muscle. It's going to fly in the face of that DVD that came with your perfect pull-up, but I don't think that's a bad thing. You probably should never take advice from anything on an infomercial unless you're trying to live and die like a rock star. In that case, Billy Mays is your man. And I've talked ad nauseum about keeping that elbow in a fixed position, so I'm not going to reiterate that here. You guys know where I stand there. But what I do want to cover today is the exact form you should have when you're in that fully stretched position, when you're at peak contraction or fully contracted, and the position or angle of your body. Let's first start out by talking about how your form should be in a fully stretched position, because I rarely see anybody do this, and it makes all the difference. And the biggest takeaway is never disengage that lat. And you know when it happens, when you start to stretch and you feel it go from your lat to your shoulder to your arm and you're fully straight with that arm. It doesn't sound like such a bad thing to have to re-engage that lat to pull it down, but 99% of people can't do that. They can't drive the force from their hand to their bicep back to their lat. It usually just stops right in their bicep, and it's a bicep movement. And on top of that, you're losing your ability to really stretch that lat, because that point right before your lat disengages, you're going to actively push against and drive against that lat so you can get that nice deep stretch. If you let it fully extend, you lose it. So you're going to stop a little bit short, keep it engaged, really stretch those lats, and then pull it back down. When it comes to a full contraction on the lat pull down, this is where it appears to me that everybody has some sort of weird fetish about getting that bar to touch their nipples by any means necessary, because your lats will only pull that bar down so far, and they're going to stop. The only way to get it all the way down is by rolling those shoulders and pulling those biceps into it. And you obviously don't want that. If you do, you have horrible decision-making skills. So you only want to contract down as far as those lats will let you, no further. You're not going to touch that chest. You're definitely not going to touch those nipples. So save that for later. Now, the next question is, okay, where should that handle be? Because I'm sure you've seen people where they have that handle way out in front, almost like a full face pull. We can answer that by going over the last thing, which is position or angle of your body. Because it's really inefficient to train those lats on a fixed path. I don't care what angle your body's at. If you're pulling straight down, you're working against your body's natural biomechanics. And on top of that, if you factor in that I want you to keep the elbow in a locked position the entire time, it just can't happen. So what you have to do is get some movement involved to get the most out of your lat pull down. So during the negative portion of the movement, you're going to lean forward and force that stretch. And during the positive, you're going to lean back, enhance that contraction. And just as important, you're following the natural arc of your lats, the elbow's in a fixed position, and you don't have to guess where your hands are going to be. They're just going to naturally fall where they're supposed to fall. Is it just me, or do I sound like I've reverted back to my 4-year-old self and I've been eating boogers all day? I think I have some sort of strep throat. I know what you're thinking. Don't you go dying on me now. When it comes to pull-ups, a lot of the same things apply. And I know some people, it's just an achievement to get 20 pull-ups, or it's military training, so they have to go all the way up, all the way down. But just know that top of the movement, there's no way your lats can pull you that high. It has to be shoulder, it has to be bicep. So if that's important to you, that's a totally different style of training. For me, my whole training is about taking the inefficiency out of certain movements and isolating it down to whatever muscle you're trying to work. And it's obviously not pulling yourself all the way up with your biceps and shoulders. So what about the stretch on these? I'd still argue that it's better not to disengage those lats, because these are even harder to re-engage than pull downs. You could screw up so bad that you actually even get your traps involved. And you're still going to get that movement involved, but to what severity is dependent on the grip you take. Because with a really wide grip, you're still going to follow the natural arc of your lats, but you're only able to bring those elbows in so far. So at the top of the movement, you're still fairly straight up and down. Now, when you bring those elbows all the way in for a close grip or reverse grip, now you can really start to follow the natural arc of your lats. So you're going to feel like you're pulling those handles around your body, almost feel like you're touching your stomach to the ceiling, and it just follows the natural arc a little bit better. Both great movements. Close grip is going to feel like you can really contract a little bit easier, have better connection to it. Wide grip, if you can do it, it's actually harder, could be better for you. It's just a more advanced way of doing it. Just so you know, when I'm working with somebody on this, we start with that close grip. It's a little bit easier, it's more natural, and then we start working wider and wider until we get to the point where it's that wide grip, elbow slightly tucked in, and they're right back to sucking at it. I was going to go over barbell pullovers and one-arm rows, but I think I need to go home and drain my face. Not with a neti pot, because Whatever human invented the fact that you pour hot water in your nose and the snot comes out of your mouth is pretty sick. Probably the same one that likes to touch the barbell to their nips. It's not okay. So if you want me to make that video, leave a comment below. Here's 2 of my other favorite back days. If you haven't seen either of these, you're going to want to watch these next. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and get after it, get growing. Talk to you soon.